Welcome to the Do Good X podcast, a sanctuary from the entrepreneurial grind. Hosts Kimberly Danielle and Stephen Lewis, advocates for impactful entrepreneurship, guide you on the path where purpose meets business. Join us to slow down, reconnect, and explore the challenges of under-resourced entrepreneurs, uncovering the unique journey of building businesses that make a difference. Now, your host.
Welcome to the Do Good X podcast. My name is Stephen Lewis, and I am a catalyst for positive change in communities and businesses. For over 2 decades, I have been inspiring leaders, entrepreneurs to live and work for good with intention, with purpose, with faith, and a commitment to their well-being. And I'm delighted and joined here today with my colleague, Kimberly. It's good to see you.
Good to see you too, and Happy New Year to you, and Happy New Year to you all who are listening in. I am Kimberly Danielle, and I am a communication strategist, a coach, and a community builder who comes from generations of faith-driven leaders and entrepreneurs who believe that our purpose should drive us to contribute to the common good. And I am excited about it being our first episode back, Stephen, in the new year. And today, I know that this month is typically full of, looking at New Year's resolutions and what you're going to accomplish or over the year or what your goals are. But I think that conversation is still important because I want you to consider, how are you starting off this new year for yourself and for your business? So for you to not just be thinking about your business, but also think about yourself. Today, we're going to just briefly chat about 3 particular topics to set you up well for this year. And that includes setting business intentions, work-life balance, or as a previous guest said, that rhythm that you create for your work and your life, your personal life. And then lastly, how you leverage technology to support your intentions and that balance, that rhythm, that harmony of your work life and your personal life.
Well, that sounds good. So let's start with this idea, Kimberly. I've been thinking about this for a moment. Oftentimes we start the New Year's with resolutions, things that we want to change, things that we want to do that we didn't do in the previous year, et cetera. But what if we start the new year thinking about gratitude? Which is to say, what are 1 or 2 things that we are grateful for concerning your business or what you did in the previous year? And I think, starting there then places us in this wonderful position about celebrating our wins and what we learned from the setbacks or areas of growth that took place in the past year or so. And then I would say from there, we can start begin to imagine and to dream and to define clear intentions for the new year based on our reflections of those dreams and imaginings that we want to create. And we can do all the things that help us think about, well, what might we do in a month or a quarter? And what might be specific goals for those dreams or those imaginations that we have and towards meeting those very clear intentions that we want to set. But then finally, what I would say is that once you've done all that, it may be helpful to think about, how will I be accountable to myself? And oftentimes it's good to have someone outside of ourselves that we can share those dreams, those imagining possibilities, intentions that we're holding and what we're grateful for. Because if we share it with them, then they can turn around and be our accountability partner for ways that we will hold ourselves accountable to. Are we making progress to the things that we set out to do over the next month, over the next quarter, over the next 6 months? And we can track our progress that we're making towards that end. What do you think about that? What would you offer?
Yeah, so it makes me It makes me think of two things before I move on to kind of the next point. It makes me think about when you talk about intention and dreams, this quote from Deepak Chopra came to mind, which is intention is the starting point of a dream. It is the creative power that fulfills all of our needs, whether from money, relationships, spiritual awakening, or love. And so your intentions, it is the starting point of those dreams. And so it is very important to have those clear intentions to bring to life what it is that you desire to happen in, I would say, your personal life and also for your business as well. I also think about the accountability piece. Something I did last year, just on my personal social media, my personal Instagram, I just threw out there to all my friends, because I have a small following of people that I know personally on there, but a few hundred people. I asked folks, do you want accountability for your intentions? If so, I'm here. And it's so interesting because a lot of people sent me messages and they said, oh, I'm scared to be held accountable. Some people took me up on the offer because I just wanted to be support, because not everybody has that. I say all that to say, make sure you have something in place to hold yourself accountable, even if you're kind of resistant to that because you don't want to be accountable to anything. That's really the way that you're going to get to those intentions, get to that dream, get to what it is that you desire. And so it's so important to think about intentions and so important to think about accountability, whether that's by you creating some kind of system or practice to hold yourself accountable, or whether that's a community or a person who holds you accountable. So once you have those clear intentions for your business, we also often talk about on this podcast how it's necessary to really attend to your own well-being. And so it's important to establish how you will manage those demands of your business, the demands of your family, and your own self-care. You can go back to episode 5 where we do share some tips on this. And of course, we've talked to many people on our podcast who have shared kind of their practices for caring for themselves and this type of rhythm and harmony with all these aspects of life. But what I'll highlight specifically today in this new year are 3 things. 1, identify your priorities and manage your time based on those priorities. You won't be able to do everything. So if you think about, some people they like to create lists for their days. I do that. Now, some people can create a very, very long list that is not manageable. I have been that person. I raised my hand. I have been that person. But I decided to shift that and really approach my days with what are the top 4 priorities that I will focus on in my work life and my professional life. In my personal life, my work life and my personal life. And just really what it makes me think about is what's most important? And then how do I manage my time around that? Because that supports where my energy should go. It helps me have that better rhythm for my life. The second thing is to develop practices and habits to really care for yourself. One of our previous guests, Elaine, she talked about the importance of sleep for herself, that is a practice that she has to get sleep. It sounds so simple, but many entrepreneurs, many founders don't get enough of it. So looking at your sleep and how you really make it a habit to get quality sleep, how you eat well. There have been entrepreneurs who say that they put on their calendar lunch because they forget to eat lunch because they're so wrapped up in what they're doing. So are you prepping your food and having that available at your fingertips to make it easier and remind you to eat? What are your spiritual practices? Many people that we've talked to on this podcast wake up to pray or meditation, journaling, getting outside in nature. So what are you doing? What are you doing for yourself on a consistent basis to really take care of yourself well? for this year. And it takes a little while to create a habit. So this may be tough for you, especially if you're, consistently working in one area or one area of your life. But I encourage you to set up that habit now and give yourself at least really 60 days, but I'll say 30 days, cut you some slack to really get accustomed to this. And then the last thing I'll say is establish boundaries for your business and for your personal life. And this will really support you. One of our guests, Justin McLeod, the founder of Square One Startup School and Sir Thrive, he talked about how he ends his day at 3:30 and he spends time with his kids. So, just giving you some ideas. He says no to work thereafter. Or another guest talked about how they have Saturday as a Sabbath. There's also someone that I know who's a founder who takes a trip for themselves, even though they have a family, they take a trip for themselves once a year, and they always around on their birthday, and they always say no to work during that time because that time is for them to reset. So really be thinking about what are your boundaries so that you can really put your intention, put your energy in the spaces and places that you want to be in. So I know, that was quite a bit there, but Steve, what you got to say?
No, those are all good points. One of the things that you made me think about as you were talking is it may be helpful to think about where you are, where or what or who are you giving your attention to? And how much of your attention is being consumed by those things? And to what extent do you carve out in your 24-hour day giving attention to your intentions? Because to me, I think, to do all these things that you're talking about, to develop a habit, you have to actually create space in which you give your attention to. And it's difficult when you have so many things that are vying for your attention. And so in this new year, before it gets crowded with all the calendar invites and, resolutions and people who how do you take this little short window of time to give attention to your intentions about how you want to spend your time this year, over the next 6 months, over the next quarter, over the next month, the next week? How do you do that? We live in a digital age where there's so many tools that are available to us. And at the same time, so many things that are actually coming to us on our devices that divert our attention here and there and everywhere. So tools that help us save time, our energy, and even our money, in addition to creating space to just breathe and give attention to our breath and what it is that we need to be focusing on, or how we might take that time to reset and think about, now, wait a minute, what was my intention? What am I supposed to be focusing on? Finding tools in this digital age that can help you do that, I think can help create a reset and really allow you to kind of move in this year differently, perhaps in the ways that you have moved maybe in previous years. I think the other thing, too, is that when you're trying to set intentions and determine how you want to manage the demands of your business, your family, self-care, consider one or two technology apps that can support you around project management. Two of those would be like Motion or even Asana. Maybe you need to think about how you organize your life so that you can give more attention to the things that you need to focus on this year. Well, you know what? AI has plenty of AI assistants. So you got Ohi, Google Assistant, Siri, Alexia that can help you in how you create a to-do list, reminders, add something to your calendar. Maybe it's remembering a birthday, making sure you got that special gift. Maybe it's just simply just to breathe. Or maybe it's a little, self-care for you in that regards. But think about tools that can actually help you and use those kind of AI assistants that can actually be an extra set of hands or ears with regards to what all the things that you're managing. And then also think about digital limits. Do not disturb functions on your apps, focus time on your apps, or think about other apps like Flipped. That's FLIP with a D at the end, or Digital Detox. Like all those things are important because I think at the end of the day, Kimberly talked about priorities. To be able to do those things, you got to be able to kind of cut through all the noise that actually will constantly bombard you and maybe even overwhelm you. So think about how you can just get off the grid, the digital grid, sometimes to just be able to just breathe and just be and to experience the world beyond the reach of technology, where you can just focus and reset and allow yourself to give attention to those deep wonderings, your curiosity, your vivid dreams, and imagine the possibilities for your business and the future that you're trying to create. What do you say, Kimberly?
It made me think about a couple of things just listening to you. So if you are tuning in and you're hearing these tips and tools, and you might be getting overwhelmed, and as you think about this year and all that may be coming your way, I would say overall, I want to lean into what they say in working smarter and not harder. That's what we encourage you to do. That's what I encourage you to do. Start with your intention and explore. Ultimately, all of these things are to explore how you can simplify your life, streamline things in your life so that you can reach those intentions and those dreams that Stephen started us off with in this conversation. That's really it. The AI tools are an avenue, a tool in which to support you to get to that intention. It's going to help you work smarter and not harder, to leverage what you have access to at your fingertips. Having boundaries helps you work smarter and not harder because you're shutting one thing down so that you can actually focus on another thing, because humans are not great at multitasking and trying to be in multiple places at one time. I'm not going to get into, every point that we've made today, but I just want to encourage you to not get overwhelmed. I'm going to encourage you to not get overwhelmed in this new year. And as you're thinking about what's ahead for you, but to really think about how you simplify your life so that you can meet your goals this year, this quarter, maybe even just this day. So if you are ready to turn your intentions into action and you want some accountability, we can connect you with a community of entrepreneurs and change makers here. And we also have resources to support you in your journey. You can go to dogoodx.org, and there you can explore those resources. And if you've enjoyed listening to this podcast episode, please do write us a review and share it with somebody who might find it helpful as they start off the new year, because we are all trying to start off a new and better year. At least everybody that I talk to in the new year, they're always trying to start it off better, even if life brings a lot of challenge. we're trying to do better and we're trying to be better. So together, let's continue to do good. Together, let's continue to do and be better. And until next time, be well, do good, and Happy New Year.
Thank you for listening to the Do Good X podcast. To continue the conversation or access our resources, visit www.dogoodx.org. Join us again for conversations that will nourish your soul, ignite your dreams, and empower you to build an impactful business, one intentional step at a time. Until then, keep striving, thriving, and doing good.